Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast, episode number 1359. And I have a very special guest for you guys tonight. I can't wait for you guys to hear what Luis has to say. We've got Luis Salavarria.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
Yes, Salavarria, yes.
I've been practicing. Awesome. Luis is the president of the American Asset Legacy and Warriors Texas House Buyers Corporate. Oh, good grief. and is an engineer by trade that started investing in real estate in 2006. He's completed over 15 flips and has 29 units in his rental portfolio comprising of long-term tenants and short-term rentals as well. Currently, Luis owns approximately $3.4 million in real estate, and his focus is syndicating value-add multifamily properties. Oh my gosh. I'm going to leave the rest of the bio there for people to come and have and read themselves. It's in the description below because I don't want to take too much time out of what we have here for the next 20 to 30 minutes. Getting into Luis's head and learning how to live our best life now with real estate. So, Luis, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you for having me here.
It is a great honor to have you here, and I'm super excited. And when you said you wanted to be a guest, I was like, yes. So tell me, Luis, we always talk about live your best life now. You're currently living your best life now, but also planning for your best life in the future. How did you get started in this?
Yeah, let me tell you how I started. I started doing the stuff that I wanted to do, and it took me a while. For sure. Like with anybody else, we are all full of doubt and full of fears and, stuff like that you have learned along the way. Things that have taught you, maybe you should wait a little bit or do it later, or that's not for you, or study first, or marry first, or have a child first, or whatever, right? Something comes up all the time, And now what I found is that you cannot wait. You cannot wait. So that's basically the start of my presentation is just take action, right? And in order for you to live the best life that you can live right now, you also have to start thinking about the future, what you want to get into the future, right? It may be, in my case, for example, I want to buy, 10,000 apartments, that's in my future. So what do I have to do now? I see that in the future, but I want to bring it to the present.
Mm-hmm.
So what do I need to do right now at this very second? I need to make more offers. I need to speak to brokers. I need to, contact banks. I need to speak to other people. So networking is important too. So all of those things means that you have to work right now in your best life. And if that's really what you want to do, you're going to enjoy the hell of it. Like that's what I'm doing right now. I enjoy my life because I'm doing what I want to do, and in the process, of course, I don't think there is a better or a best fulfilled life than helping other people, fulfill their dreams and getting ahead and making progress in whatever the hell they want to do too, So it's not only about myself, and that's how I see it, But anyway,
I like the fact too that because I know that on Wednesdays you do a webinar, a live webinar on Wednesdays, and it's all in Spanish.
Yes.
Which is totally fine. I'm going to have to learn Spanish so I can come and listen. I've always wanted to learn Spanish. Maybe I should start.
See?
Not maybe. We're going to start because I want to come in here because not only do you talk about how to invest in real estate in that webinar, you're also helping and encouraging them in the correct mindset to prepare them for what's coming.
Yes.
And I think it's important that when you are living your best life now, and especially when you're doing something like real estate, and you said, the 10,000 apartments, that it's important that you've got to have the right mindset to be able to manage or even see that.
Yes.
Because my goal is to have $100 million company. I'm not in the right mindset right now to do that, but each step that I go, I stretch and grow. And that's what you're teaching people to do on this Wednesday webinar too, isn't it?
Yes,
Teaching them to stretch and
yes,
grow.
yes. So I have three things that I do currently right now. So each week. So one of them is what you said. It's a webinar. It's in Spanish. It's totally free. So if you consider yourself one of those people that may want to invest in real estate, and let me tell you a secret, there are only two kinds of people in the world. One, people that want to invest in real estate, and two, people that are invested in real estate. That's it. So those two kind of people, you must be in one of those, right? So if you are in one of those and you speak Spanish, of course you can actually join the webinar, and that's one of the things that I do. The other thing that I do, and I provide value doing that too, is what you said, Helen. I went on a radio show. They wanted to interview me, and I guess they must have liked me because they offered me, like, a position there that it was going to be like a weekly thing, like a recurrent thing.
Mhm.
So now they're interviewing me every single week on that radio. And
Awesome.
my idea, yeah, thanks. So my idea with that is just to tell people that you can invest, even though you may think that you don't have what it takes, even though you may think that you don't have the money or the time, or the technical stuff that you have to know, the tools. It doesn't matter what you think. Usually what you think is wrong. So don't think about it. Just
Let's
do.
do it.
Instead of think, just do. you know and that's kind of and you're gonna make mistakes too, but that
Mhm.
that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. That's like, if you think you're way back when you were a little kid or a little girl, and you were playing with your siblings or cousins or whatever. You would fall off the bike, you would trip with the
Mhm.
ball when you were playing with the ball, but it didn't matter because you were having fun, right? So when did we stop doing that? When did we stop not having fun in what we wanted to do?
That I go back and think about that. I thought, how much fun we had growing up, and then I look
Yes.
at now and I'm like, why did we stop laughing? Why did we stop
Yes.
playing?
Yes. Yes.
And like you said, it just amazes me that when we did that. But I have to say, when we first met, well, about what, 4 or 5 years ago at a networking event,
Yes.
um, I have watched you grow into the person you are now, which has been absolutely amazing watching your transformation as you go and
Yeah.
coming. And I don't think you had very many apartments at the time when we met. I think it was like about
No,
for like four or
definitely not.
five maybe. And now you're
Yes.
doing these deals which are way bigger than what you had imagined at that time. Because I
Yeah.
remember that you were talking about, oh, this is what I want to do. I just want to get to here and I just want to do this. You've gone well beyond what you were talking about, back 4 or 5 years ago when we first met at that networking event. And I have to say, it's been a privilege to watch you do that and watch you grow. And now that you're turning around and you're teaching others, and as you said, you're living your best life now. You've got the three amazing kids. You've got a gorgeous wife who is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Um, but what you are teaching others is the things that you have learned over the last 4 or 5 years. And it has been an honor to watch you grow and develop and evolve. And you're
Yeah.
still evolving. And now you're talking about buying 10,000 a building with 10,000 apartments in it, and all this. And I'm just like, wow, from where you came from to where you are now, wow.
But you know what, Helen? The thing is that I'm always trying to push myself,
Hmm.
and it's good to talk to people like yourself, and like, let me be reminded of that journey, because
Hmm.
sometimes you take your journey for granted, because I
Absolutely.
feel like, that's way in the past. You're like, okay, that's fine, but that's not my focus right now. My focus is on the present and the future, right?
Hmm.
The future that I want to get to. But as I said, you have to work out that future, right, in such a way that you can bring it to the present, and you start doing it now. So
Absolutely.
I feel like there's still a lot to do for me, and I feel like, I, I have to do more every single day that I wake up. It's like, oh man, I have to do this, I have to do that, and then I do it. And it's like, okay, I feel good, but because I finished what I wanted to do today, but still it's like there's so much to do still, you know, and so much that can be done too, right? So if I can get at least one person listening to us
Hmm.
to start taking action in whatever direction they want to take, you know, it doesn't have to be in real estate, it doesn't have to be with me even, but as long as you take your steps, just take one step forward, just one
Yep.
today, and then you're going to feel more empowered. You're going to feel like, okay, nothing happened, I didn't die, you know, nobody died, you know. You know, I'm still here, so I can still do this, right? So what about if I take two steps now, you know?
Yep.
So that's
One step at
how
a time.
kind of how you develop this crazy thing in your mind of always moving forward, you know. Just take one step, don't take two, just take one.
Hmm.
Then after you take that one, you'll feel like, okay, this is good,
And
you know.
sometimes the fear overwhelms people too much, I think, and they and it's okay. You can't take a full step. Take half a step, as
Yeah,
long as you keep moving
just
forward.
move, just
Yeah,
move.
just move,
Yes.
even if it's a half step forward or a shuffle, as long as you keep that forward momentum.
Yep.
So you're living your best life now, and you're also looking at what's coming from the future as well to help you live your best life in the future. What is one suggestion that you have for people to get started in real estate investing?
You have to start with yourself. By that I mean you have to read books. You have to, you know, see whatever you can find on me or anybody else for that
Hmm.
matter. You know, I always look up to the people that have done more and that are still doing more than me, because those are the people that I want to look up to. You know, those are the people that I want to learn from. You
Hmm.
know, so in my case, at the beginning, at the very beginning, it was Robert Kiyosaki, for example. You know,
Yep,
I read his book, you know, Rich Dad Poor Dad,
it's a great book.
and it sort of, I wouldn't say that it changed my life, but it did give me a clear path to say, you know what, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to try at least, you know. And then along the way, of course, came, you know, Grant Cardone. Then, you know, it came and I actually joined his one of his groups, you know, the
Hmm.
real estate group. And this is a guy, a billionaire, you know. And I started going more into a learning mode, but at the same time, I would learn and I would practice. You know, like learn and do what I was trying to learn, or
Yep.
what was actually getting. You know, from either the books, the courses, you know, the in person meetings, you know, the meeting with somebody like or whoever, you know. And I was always trying to do something for somebody else too. Always, you know,
Hmm.
because for me it didn't make a lot of sense to do it on my own, you know. I feel like a lot of people think that they're afraid or they don't want to take that step, and it's just because they're in their head. Just get out
Hmm.
of your head,
Yeah.
stop thinking about it. Just you know, what's the worst that can happen if you go out and meet a bunch of people? They're the same as you, it's just people, they're not gonna bite, you know. Well, maybe one crazy people, maybe,
Somewhat.
I don't know. I don't know. It depends where you go, right? But like normally they don't bite,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah,
I
like
like that.
just take the steps, you know. Just do something, whatever it is that you need to do. You start with yourself.
I like that. Read a lot. I remember when I first started, when I was working, having the corporate job and things, I would do a lot of reading on how to network. And I didn't
Right,
have time. I couldn't go to any networking meetings because they were always on when I was at work. But I
yeah,
was learning how to network. And if I went to a weekend seminar and stuff, I would practice what I had read.
right.
And being being an outgoing introvert helped in some ways, but being in a group of people just drained my energy, and I just sort of like I'd get home and I'd be exhausted. But I kept like doing little practices and that, and it wasn't until I got laid off from my job
Yeah.
um, that I was sort of like, oh, I can go to networking events now. That was my big thing when I got laid off was I can go to networking events now. And I had read all these books on networking, and now I was excited to try out all the stuff that I had learned over the years in reading. And it makes a big difference when you can read and you can put it into practice. I love
Yeah.
that philosophy.
Yeah.
Learn, put it into practice. Get on some free seminars as well with people that you know that are in that industry and are really good with it within that industry as well. What other recommendations do you have for them once they're doing the read and
Sure.
the learn and the do? What's
Yeah.
next?
Let me tell you something that I know because I went through that. I know people are going to have a problem with it, with this, and it is, how people say that you're basically the sum of the five people that you spend the most
Mhm.
time with, you know?
Yep.
So a lot of people say that, and that's fine, right? Like, oh, okay, so what should I do? Like, okay, I need to spend time with more people so that, like, instead of having these five, I'm gonna get another five. So that's kind of the theory behind it. That the practice is basically that usually these five are people that are in your life, like your spouse, your
Hmm.
mom and dad, your brother, your teacher, your uncle, whatever, and they're always telling you, "What? You're gonna do what? No, 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 no. What are you talking about? What? No, no, no. That doesn't work. I tried it, and it doesn't work. Like network marketing, or construction, or college, or no, no, no. Those things, they don't work. Look at
Hmm.
me. I turned out fine. Those are the people that you have to stay away from, and it doesn't mean that you have to hate them. It doesn't mean that you have to like run away from them. You still love them. you
Yep.
you basically, you thank them, you're grateful for them because they got you to where you are right now. They helped you be there
Hmm.
where you are right now. But from now on, you have to make the choice. You have to take that step, as I was saying, towards a better future now. And
Hmm.
that means that you have to make that decision right now, today, to spend more time with, you know, a biography. It doesn't have to be even a person that exists that you can actually learn from right now, but you can actually be, a book, like T. Harv Eker's, a lot of
Hmm.
books that he has, or courses, on mindset. You need to work on here, on yourself. You have to get out of yourself, the normal self that and get into this other role that is just the newer, better version of you. And that's all you have to do. It seems crazy, but I mean, like, listen, I don't know how I can explain that, but I'm crazier than anybody else that I know. I see myself like I'm talking to myself outside of myself, and
Yep.
I feel like,
Have
Luis,
conversations with yourself.
yes, exactly. So if I told this to like some people, they would say, they would actually lock me up, because that's like, okay, that's kind of cuckoo, But I feel like I'm just playing a role. When you're when you feel like you're stretching yourself, you're just playing a role. So what you
Yes.
need to do is just keep playing that role. That's not you. That's not Luis. That's just the role that Luis is playing right now. So the role that Luis is playing right now is just maybe calling a broker. I don't like calling brokers. I hate that. But that's just me. Now, the other Luis loves, speaking to brokers. So I play that role. And if you think about that, then it's going to be easier for you to take that step. It's not you that is taking that step. It's your other you, the one that is
Yes.
actually playing that role, that doesn't mind, just taking that one more step, or doing this or doing that, because they're courageous. Maybe you're not, but this other guy, this other girl, they are courageous. They take the
Yes.
steps, and you just let them, because it's not you. And when you think like that, it's like, okay, I can do stuff. I can do
I
more
love
than
that.
even I thought of that. And that's like what I've done in the past, I would say 3 years or so, just after COVID, or maybe a little bit before COVID. That's when I was like on a path looking for something, and then COVID happened. And let me tell you, for me, it was one of the best things that's happened, because I spent time working on myself, because I
Hmm.
couldn't go anywhere, right?
Yep.
So I was here and I was just learning and putting it into practice, like learning and learning, and it worked out. Like, it's
Well, you
still
had
working
that
out.
huge surge of growth during
Yes,
that COVID time because
yes,
you were working on yourself.
Yes,
Yes.
hundred
So,
percent.
so when you're talking about bringing the future to you here now, are you also having conversations with your future self?
Not, but I could start doing that. I haven't thought of that, but maybe I should.
I was because you're talking about the different roles and having this conversation, and I thought I can relate to that. I have a lot of conversations with myself and my dog.
Well,
But I also have conversations with my future self, asking ask my future self questions. How did I get there? How did I do this? How did I do
all
that?
right. You see,
But
I never
also,
thought of
but
that.
not only that, but also what is it like? Because
Yeah, yeah, it
um,
makes sense.
yeah, because my one of my big huge goals is to have a log cabin by a lake with the
Uh-huh.
mountains in the and facing towards the east.
Yeah,
And so it's got mountains in the east, and as you watch the sunrise come up in the morning, you can see the sun coming over the mountains. You're out there on the front porch having your cup of tea, cup of coffee,
nice.
whatever it is, having your quiet time, having your self-care time in that time of the morning. Then in
Yeah,
the evening, you sit out there and you're watching the sun set on the mountains because you've got those beautiful colors
of course.
that are
Yeah,
hitting the mountains. So that's been a dream of mine for a long, long time. And
that's
I
great.
quite often have conversations with that person sitting on the porch, going, "What's it like to sit there at 5 o'clock in the morning, wrapped up in a big thick quilt, having a cup of tea and watching that sun come up over the mountains?" And getting yourself into that future plan by asking your future self, "What is it like?" And I find that helps a lot too with getting
Yeah,
stuff done. Because if I
yeah,
want that, this is what I got to do to get there. I may
yeah.
not know all the steps, and my future
Sure.
self may not tell me all the steps,
Yeah,
but they might give me the next step I need to take.
yeah. That's when I love what you said because I've never done that, not like that, and I think that really helps with the visualization
Hmm.
of that future, making it real for you because it's like a memory. So when you have a memory in the future, which is crazy because I mean that hasn't happened, you make it happen because it's just
Yeah,
basically you're working off of a memory that doesn't really exist right now. But let me tell you something: neither does your fear.
that is
You know?
true.
So why do we have so many fears like for everything, right? There may be a snake, or there may be this, or there may be that. Just stop thinking about it. Like if you're gonna think about something, you know, you should really think what you're saying right now, and
Hmm.
just like imagine that as if it's something so true that you can't deny that it's not.
Yes.
You know?
And one thing I learned in one of the many books I have read is that when you start looking at the future, you're already living the future
Right.
up in
Right.
here, and the brain doesn't know any difference between the dream
Exactly.
and the reality.
Right.
And I've always stuck with that. And for years, because I had this dream about living in a log cabin, but I knew what the outside looked like, but I didn't have any idea what the inside layout was going to be. And it wasn't until like 2 years ago, I was flipping through a log cabin magazine, turned the page, and boom, it hit me. There was the exact picture in my head sitting on this page of the log cabin, because I want one with a wraparound porch that goes 360 degrees around that cabin. And there it was sitting there on the page, the right size. And I looked at the floor plan, and it was like the perfect floor plan. I'm like, yes, I finally have my floor plan. Now I have that picture to put on my vision board.
and
So
let me
I
and
was
let me
stoked.
and let me ask you something. What do you
Mhm.
think made you find that magazine, for example?
I was in Barnes and Noble, which is kind of my home away from home. Um,
Okay.
and I was just going through the magazine things, and I thought, oh, and something just said to me, oh, pick up that log cabin magazine. And so I was like, yeah, okay, and all of
Okay.
that. So I picked it up, and it wasn't until I got home and I'm sitting down in the recliner and I'm like flipping through the magazine, turned the page, and there it was. I was like, this. It was just like this shock of electricity just
Yeah.
went through my
Yeah.
body when I
Yeah.
saw that picture, and this big smile came on my face, and I was like, yes, I finally found it. It exists.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, that happens every once in a while. It doesn't really happen all the
Mhm.
time. But when I'm actually like looking for something and looking and looking and looking, and I think that I found it, and yeah, it's not there quite yet. It's not the same.
Mhm.
So I keep looking and looking. So when I actually find that thing, it's like I hear, like I see a movie, right? I see a movie, and I hear like these church people, this church choir saying like, ah. So I get that, you know. And you know what?
I
That
love
happened
it.
to me. That happened to me when I met Casey Eberhard, which is basically the person that who like, you know, that joined us basically in
Yes.
his
It was his
networking group.
networking event we were at.
Yeah, exactly. That's the networking group that we're still part of. And when I met Casey for the first time and I left that room, I felt like, ah, because I felt like this is what I'm for.
Yep.
And here we are, you know, 4 or 5 years later, here we are.
Yeah, it's magical, and I love that. And I love Sheila's comment that she's put here. She's put great comments. This is why you should expose yourself to your dreams. Try them out for a little while so you know exactly how it will be. So true.
Uh-huh.
I love that comment. That's
You see,
awesome.
I'm
Thank you
married
so
up. As you can see, I'm married up.
much. Well, we are near the end of our time. So, Luis, now I know that you have a call to action for everybody, and that is come join Luis's Wednesday calls, which is in Spanish, just to
Yes.
give you a warning. And it's hang on, salavarria.com
Yes.
/webinar.
That's it.
Link is in the description below. If you would like to connect with Luis, he also has his link there as well. Where you can go and it's got all the different ways that you can connect with him, ask him questions, find out about some of the other stuff that he's doing. So those 2 links are in the description below this video. Luis, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I loved this discussion. It was a lot of fun, and you're welcome to come back again.
Oh, don't tell me because I'm gonna be here.
Excellent. Yes.
Thank you so much. Really, I really thank you for the bottom of my heart, Helen. I really loved being here and being able to express all this that we're expressing, because I know some people are going to be touched by this and they're going to take action, that are going to move forward, and it's on them. It's
Yep.
not on you or me. It's just on them.
Correct.
They're finally doing something that for them, you know.
And something that either you or I said may resonate with them, to give them that kick that they need, that kickstart that they need to go forward and do what they need to do and follow their dreams and live their best life now. So
Exactly.
yeah, Luis, thank you so much again. I truly appreciate you coming on and taking time from your family just so we could sit here and have a chat. But let them know that I appreciate they're allowing you to come and talk with us.
Yeah, that is true.
And for everybody else, that is it for us for this evening. Hope you all have a super fantastic, sparkling evening, and we look forward to catching up with you guys again tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hey,